What we're going to do today is to build a very simple service request system with monitoring dashboard using Gravity Forms and GFChart. Now, if you're not aware, there's a new product called Gravity Flow that is very, very good for routing service request type information around different people in the organization. So I'm envisaging this will be used as well as this, but I'm not going to demonstrate that bit of it today. I'm just going to do the form and the dashboard. So let's kick off by building a service request form, and a very, very simple one. We'll do to forms, new form, and let's call this form a service request form. And I'm going to make this very simple, so I'm going to have some radio buttons to select what's required, and some radio buttons selecting who it's from. I'm going to have a drop down field to show the status of it. What else do I need? I probably also need to put the person's name on there. Let's move that up there. So starting off with this, let's have your name, which of course is required. Let's have your request. And what are the choices here? Maybe this is, say somebody wants to have a brochure designed. Perhaps somebody wants to have a web update. What's the third thing? I don't know. Social media campaign. Okay. And of course, that needs to be required as well. Let's think about, let's put down your department. Well, what are the choices here? Could be, I know, sales, marketing. Oh dear, can't spell. Sales, marketing, and operations. And that's required. And this, I'm actually going to make a hidden field, but it's, you'll see why we're doing this. This is, let's call this status. And this is either in the queue or it's in progress or it's complete. And I want this to be visible to admin only, and I want the default choice to be queued. Right, now let's update the form. I think from an organizational point of view, I should have name, department, request, and then status. Right, let's test the form and see what it looks like. So let's preview it. Looks good to me. So my name is Ben. I'm in sales and I want a brochure design, please. I'm just going to keep doing this a few times just to put a bit of data in there. Preview again. Let's suppose that Sally from marketing also wants a brochure designed. And let's preview again. Let's say that John from operations also wants a brochure designed. And let's do one more. Shall we have Sid from operations wants to have a social media campaign. So if we go to entries, you'll see we've now got 4 different things, 3 of which are brochure design. Okay, now in this sort of scenario, what I think we need to know is who wants what basically and how it's going. So the first thing I'm going to do is to have a chart of who wants what. So I'm going to go to charts and calculations, and and I'm going to add new, and I'm going to call this service requests. I'm going to link it to the service request form, and I am going to go for a bar chart, and I'm going to make that vertical, and what I want to know is your request. I'm going to count the number of requests, but I'm also going to segment it by department. I'm going to stack absolute. Moving on to here, the chart title is going to be service requests. This is going to be the service, and vertical is going to be number of requests. Save. And if we preview this, you'll now see, I mean, there's it's a bit multicolored, but I think you understand what we're going on here. 3 brochure designs, 1 social media campaign. I think we could do with a legend on here so we know what the colors mean. So let's do a legend on the right, shall we? Save that and preview. So this now tells us what's going on. Now, of course, these currently are in the queue. Now, supposing you actually wanted to know what was going on in the team processing all of these. If we go to select data, let's enable additional filter, add a condition, and let's say the status is, let's not have queued, let's say is in progress, and let's save that, and we'll go to preview, and there's no data because there's none going on there. But now if we go to I have to quickly go to the dashboard. I'll do it on a different tab, and we'll go to the data entries. Sorry, just bear with me, and I want that to be the service request. Where was it? Service request form. Supposing this one I put in here, view, which is currently queued. Let's edit that. And this could be actually done by somebody in the background, and say that's now in progress. And let's now update that. When you go back here, and I probably just need to refresh this because the data's been updated, and go to the preview, you now see we've got one thing going on in the brochure design. Okay, it's a bit clunky, but there's some finessing that can be done here, but I think you should be getting an idea here about what's actually going on. But what I'm actually going to do is to try and capture this data somewhere else. So what I'm now going to do is just take out this filter. I'm going to update, and I'm going to add a new page, and I'm just going to call this page service, and I'm going to add the form to it, which was a service request form. I have the title, not the description. I won't have that. And I'm now going to put in underneath that the service requests chart, and I'm going to publish that, and I'm going to view the page. So this should be a bit clearer now. We've now got the form with the status of the entries. Now underneath this, let's work out how many are in the queue. So currently we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, of which of course one's in operation. So we want to add a new, let's add a new thing here, and let's call it service request queue length. Now remember, this is the queue length. This is the number there that are not in progress. And I'm going to do a calculation because that's what we need. This is based on the service request form. I think we can choose any of these because they're all going to have information in them. We want to count and enable initial filters, but the thing is the status is not the status, let's call it the status is queued. So we'll save that and we'll move on to the next one. Labels and fonts, don't think there's anything there. And there we go. So there's 3 in the queue. I'm going to show you something else just to just bear with me. It will make sense in a minute if I'm losing you. I'm now going to look at the capacity in the actual team and have a measure of capacity. So I'm now going to add a new object. I'm going to call this service requests in progress. I'll link this to the service request form. It's going to be another calculation. It's going to be any of these, and it's another count. I'm going to enable additional filters, and we're going to say status is in progress rather. This should just be 1 it comes up with now. That's good. And I'm now going to, supposing the team has a capacity to process 2 of these at any one time. So what I'd now like to do is to create a sort of service request capacity in use, which I'm going to link to the service request form. And I'm going to have a progress bar. Which is going to be based on the service request in process. Now the goal, I'm actually going to say we've got the capacity of 2. And it's a number we want to measure. And what this does is produce a graph that essentially shows with a capacity of 2, we're currently 50% loaded. Now I'm rushing through this rather quickly. It will probably become a lot clearer when I put it on the page. So if we go back to here and we edit the page, the first thing to do is to say queue length. So this is the number of people in the queue. And let's just add that thing which was a service requests queue length. And let's say service department utilization. I don't know if that's quite the right language. And we will add that below. Insert that, update, and view the page. So now you can see that we've got, of the 1, 2, 3, 4 things requested, 3 in the queue, 1's in process, and the capacity is now in 2. So what happens then if we get, say, I don't know, Eric from marketing now wants the web update. What we'd expect to see here, before I press the submit button, is for a new column to appear which is web update. Marketing is red with 1 red block in it. The queue length will then go up to 4, but of course no more have been accepted in process, so this won't change. Fingers crossed, let's see what happens. Okay, and that's exactly what's happened. We've now got a web update, 1 red block there, queue length of 4. We're still at 50% utilization. Okay, so now let's take somebody else from the queue and have them in progress. So let's go to the entries here. I think Sally was next in line, wasn't she? We'll start at the bottom and work through. Yes, you can see here the order it's in. If we view that and we now that's queued, so let's edit that and change that to in progress, update, and then when we request this, now let's just re-enter that so it doesn't do anything funny. So the queue length has gone down to 3, and you can see now we're at 100% utilization. Now what I've done here is to demonstrate it all on one page with only one user of the computer. But just imagine if you had different users with different permissions here. The users potentially could, different people can see different things. Some people could have editing access to actually move things down the queue. And the wonderful thing about Gravity Flow, which I mentioned earlier, is that it puts a workflow around the various steps alongside Gravity Forms. So I think the combination of Gravity Flow, Gravity Forms, and GF Chart produces a wonderful solution for these sorts of scenarios. Thank you.